Hey everybody, Jillian here for Illustrated Faith's Print and Pray Shop. Today I have a brand new Bible journaling process video for you. I'm using Elaine Davis's Applause Journal Kit that is new in the Print and Pray Shop. Thought I'd give you a peek at it first before I get started on my entry in 2 Corinthians. So I'm working with 2 sets today. Elaine's got the Applause Journal Kit, and it has just some really fun elements in it, like this little television, the microphone, all about media and standing up for Jesus in the media. So we got some wordfetti. I love her lettering and her florals, of course. Then you have the devotional aspect of it, where she asks you some prompting questions, which are great. This would be really great to work through. And then also included are 2 pages you could put into a traveler's notebook insert to work through the journal kit with all of these really fun elements. I have to remember to use the labels today. And then there's some coordinating patterned paper. So really fun triangles. I love this sheet that has the quotations on it. Her florals again. And then this sheet is some more triangles, and I printed this one on clear sticker paper because I thought it would be fun, since it's got like a white background, to kind of put as a finishing touch around the page. So that's a look at her patterned paper bundle and then the Applause journal kit. So now I'm going to go ahead and get started. So for this page, I thought it would be really fun to try something that I haven't done before, and that is using gelatos. So I pulled a few different colors here that went along with the colors of the Better Together releases this month. And if you guys ever want to like work on color matching or anything like that, be sure to head to the Illustrated Faith blog so that you can see the artist mood board for that month, and you can like color match with things that you may already have. So what I'm using here, like I said, are the Faber-Castell Gelatos, and I'm using the colors lavender, passion fruit, margarita mix, and mango, and I'm just putting them down like one at a time and then spraying them with water. So I have this teeny tiny little mister, and it actually was like one of those free things that you get at like a health fair or something. It used to have hand sanitizer in it, so I emptied out the hand sanitizer and I put water in it, and it's like the perfect size to keep on my desk. It's nice and compact, but it also has a really powerful little spritzer. So I really love how when I put the gelato on and then kind of rubbed it with my finger, like dry onto the page, these things are like super creamy. And then I misted it. Just the sheer force from this little like compact mister, I loved how it like made the color expand a little bit, and then like little droplets of it got around where I had like dry rubbed it on the page. So I hope that makes sense. I hope you can see that in the video. But yeah, so maybe you have one of these things like hanging out at the bottom of your purse that's nearly empty. You could totally take the top off and refill it with water. Anyway, enough about that little thing. I'm just doing the exact same thing over and over here, spending a lot of time with my heat tool today. We had some really good quality time together, showing you here what the bleed through looks like on the back of the page. I don't use gesso or anything to prep it, so there is going to be some bleed through, no big deal. It just sets the foundation for my next page if I do something on the back side of this one. So just doing 2 big areas of the gelatos using these 3 colors, the lavender, the passion fruit, and the margarita mix. Yeah, so just getting it down on the page, blending it in with my finger, and then hitting it with the water. So my page was super, super saturated. There was so much water on it, and I did one color at a time pretty much so that they wouldn't bleed. And so here I'm just showing you the final look on the back, and then how much my page shrunk. It shrunk probably like a 1/4 of an inch from like it's a 1/4 of an inch shorter than the page behind it. So next I'm going to go through the journal kit here and just cut out the things that I know I want to use, and I will take this time while you watch me cut things up to talk to you about the verses. So like I said, I'm in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, really journaling verses 17 through 20 it looks like, and I'll just read it to you really quick. And I love how this just goes so perfectly with the All Things New devotional kit that we're working through, right? Because, of course, 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, the new is here. So if we are in Christ, we have been made new. And then it goes on in verse 18 to say, all this is from God, who reconciled us to himself through Christ and gave us the ministry of reconciliation. That God was reconciling the whole world to himself in Christ, not counting people's sins against them, and he has committed to us the message of reconciliation. We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us. So my entry today is all about being an ambassador for Christ. The title of my page is Christ's Ambassador. So I knew I wanted to use the microphone for my entry today and really have that be the focal point along with the title. And then I cut out a few of these triangles, like I said, loving the All Things New devotional kit, which is rich in triangles, and continuing that theme here because I just think that they go so well together. Don't you love when that happens? Like, so great. So I got my base of color down on the page, and then I'm going to start layering things on top of that. So when I read this verse, I'm like, yeah, I know what an ambassador is. I know what ambassadors are at, embassies, and I've heard of brand ambassadors that different companies use to get their message or campaign or whatever out into the public. But it was helpful for me to go to study this a bit and then just to actually learn about what an ambassador does. So I'm going to share that with you because I think it's worth sharing. And then I'm going to go ahead and work on my title here using the homespun alpha stickers and then also the new tiny colorful alphas to get my title down. So since the background is those warm colors like the pink and the orange and the yellow, I really wanted the title to contrast, to really pop off the page, and so that's why I'm using the cool toned alpha stickers. So I have here written in my journal, it says an ambassador is an official envoy who represents a foreign sovereign, providing a link between his host country and the country he represents. He works to build relations. He lives in one country but is responsible to another. He must also embody the character of his home country, following laws and customs that are not necessarily known or even welcome in his host nation. Does that sound familiar? But Paul and you and I did not originate from the nation that we are representing, right? God's kingdom. But through Christ, he and we are adopted in and then undergo a change of perspective. So like it says in verse 17, we're a new creation. So I have a pretty good idea here of where things are going to live on the page. I so badly wanted to put something under the verse there off to the right, but wanted to leave a little bit of blank space since it's looking a little busy already. Like I said, I really wanted to use the patterned paper that I had printed on clear sticker paper as just another pattern on the page, and I'm doing my best here to cut out like triangle or diamond shape patterns to go ahead and layer on the page behind these two diamonds that I already have sitting on top of the page. So I'm going to get that guy down and then use my Illustrated Faith tape runner to just layer the cardstock element on top of the one that's on sticker paper. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing at the top. And you'll see that that microphone and that label that are in the middle, they kind of like move around a lot until I finally stick them down. Do you guys do that when you know like what you want to put on a page? Do you immediately adhere it, or do you kind of move around to make sure like that's the best spot for it? Let me know if you guys do that, or if you think I'm totally crazy when you see me do it. So I just love these guys. I love the colors that are included in this patterned paper and thought it would be really fun too to layer it behind the microphone. The cool thing about printing on sticker paper, of course, is that everything underneath it is still legible, so I can still totally read the text even though I put like this triangle patterned paper on top of it. Here we go, finally getting this adorable like retro microphone down. I don't have an idea of what I'm going to put on that label at this point, but I like layering things and I really like using labels, and it's just a nice bright pop of white amidst all of that color, so I'll figure out what I'm going to do. So next what I'm going to do is use my white Faber-Castell big brush pen to just create some little marks on there. This is way more pigmented than I'm used to having on my Bible pages, so everything in me wanted to tone this down with some white acrylic paint, but I left it because I think the contrast is pretty nice. So using the big brush pen, the white big brush pen, like to just put some little dots on there was my way of compromising. And then, what's an entry without wordfetti? I'm going to use Elaine's wordfetti that's included with the journal kit, and I loved this phrase that said, "Tell the world." I thought it was perfect next to the microphone, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down. And I'm also going to layer the wordfetti that says, "For His glory," on the bottom. All right, so here we go. I'm ready to start journaling. I've got my notes here. This is my quiet time journal that I use. And as I studied this passage, I love what Paul Tripp has to say. He says that everything an ambassador says or does must intentionally represent a leader who isn't physically present. And it's not a part-time calling, it's a lifestyle. He says, we represent God's purposes to the people He places in our lives. The primary question on our mind should be, how can I best represent the King in this place with this particular person? And that's just what I wrote. Just that little phrase is, I thought was just the perfect thing to put here in the margin of my Bible. And I just want to encourage you guys, you don't need a huge Instagram following or a YouTube subscriber base to have a platform for Jesus, right? It could be in the hallways of your school with your friends and your classmates. It could be at your job with your coworkers. It could be in your home with your kids or your grandkids. Or if you are on social media, that's great. It is whoever God places in our lives. And of course, that's who we can tell Christ about and be a royal ambassador for Him. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your week. If you're interested in picking up any of the supplies I've used, I've got them linked in the video description below.